So when obstacles inevitably come into our path, from my understanding, that there's three ways to handle it. You can either one, just use an analogy so everyone can understand. Just say you're walking down a road and there's like this huge boulder that's in your way, but you need to go to the other side of the boulder, perhaps to work, to see your family or whatever. Doesn't matter. There's a big boulder in your way. You can use a tree if you want. And it's an obstacle. It's literally an obstacle in your path.
If you're enjoying the video and you want to go deeper with me, check out my meditation masterclass. It's unlike anything. It's pinned in the comments below.
You can either turn around and just not bother or mess with it at all. You could go around it, which may take a long time, a lot of stress and anxiety, and a lot of energy and motion, or you can go straight through it, either climb over it or, grab a chainsaw, whatever it takes to get through it. Since we know those obstacles and those tests that the universe, God, or what we create I think is what you said, there's obstacles on the path. How should our vibration, how should our frequency or our mindset be when we become aware of those obstacles coming in our path? Like, should we always be in a high vibrational state? Should we always be going through the tough times in terms of love and wisdom and joy and like the higher frequency selves? Or is there power? This could be a side tangent, a second question. Or are those like sadness, lower vibrational frequencies, or are those useful as well?
Okay, that's a great question. Okay, so the first part, we want to vibrate in accordance with the success of the fulfillment of overcoming the obstacle or challenge. So we want to embody that vibration always. And that is what will direct us past the tree, the boulder, whatever it is. So we want to vibrate with the frequency of the success of the fulfillment of overcoming the obstacle or challenge. Okay, that's the answer to that. Now, the second part, things that arise, emotions, whatever they are. Okay, if they are arising, it's because it's needed for us to see something so we can move past wherever we are stuck or attached. So this is not about suppressing emotions, denying emotion. It's quite the opposite. It's about being fully aware, being truly aware and awake, not woke, aware and awake, right? So we want to recognize if we have feelings of sadness, depression, anger, lust, jealousy, pick one, right? So these things arise for a reason. And when we meet these things, instead of ruminating on them and identifying with them, Sean, if we simply meet these things with pure presence, pure awareness, that I am is so supremely high frequency, it will alchemize the low frequency emotions that are coming up, and we'll be able to move right past it rather than stewing in it, right? One instance occurs that we get upset and sometimes we're thrown off for all day, a week, a month, a year, right? When we work with ourselves properly and we meet it with the awareness, it'll alchemize it. And in no time at all, we'll be able to move. We'll get the clarity and we'll be able to move right through it. And that's really the from my perspective, the most optimal way to work with low frequency emotions that come up.
Yeah, like an example for that for me in my life, which a lot of friends, a lot of family members see me as kind of crazy or weird, but I have a tattoo on my inner biceps, Memento Mori. Remember you were mortal, remember you're going to die one day. It's Latin. And I got it from studying Stoicism these past couple of years. So I've been diving into deep thinking in that terms of remember that you're going to die one day and just trying to live according to. Simple enough. The most common quote is YOLO, you only live once. And I've been thinking about death every single day as a motivator, not in a morbid way, but understand that everyone and everything dies. And I've been able to alchemize those lower vibrations of sadness or regret from people or things dying. And that's just like an example I just wanted to bring up because most people see me as weird for not having a huge attachment to, for example, let's say one of my best friends dies. or something, people in society and people just expect you to be hung up on that for hours, to go out and drink in honor of them, or just be caught up in tangibly just like lose your life just because that happened. But what I've been able to realize over these past couple of years diving into spirituality and looking inwards is that if we are a fractal of God, are we just returning to the source? Essentially, it's like if we're all parts of God, we're all the same exact thing. And what's the whole point of crying and being depressed and being a low frequency lifestyle for days, months, years afterwards? I feel like that's just like a wasted use of energy. And once you accept and understand that we are all the same thing, we're all going to the same place, we all came from the same place. Yeah, that's just like one of those um, analogies in my life, examples in my life from where how I can alchemize those obstacles that comes in everyone else's life to use it and understand and come from a place of love. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. You have an interesting analogy, which was one of his aha moments as I was going through your book and studying you across social media, is the difference between thinking and knowing. Could you please walk us through what the difference is between what is thinking and what is knowing?
Sure, sure. Well, they have nothing to do with each other. They have nothing to do with each other. We only think about what we don't know. Thinking is a low frequency substitute when we are disconnected from knowingness. Now, when we incarnate where you and I are now, the low frequencies, not the third dimension, third frequency, when we incarnate into the lower frequencies of the physical universe, we are so far from where we come from, our holistic state of being and interconnectivity with all things simultaneously, we leave that. We leave that. Why? For the experience. So we leave that, and we are projected by our higher self, like an octopus dropping a tentacle. We are projected all the way down here. Now, for the most part, nearly every single soul, when we get here, Sean, our disconnection from the knowingness of who we are and how things really are, the disconnection is complete. So we replace inner knowingness with beliefs. I don't really know, so I'm going to have to choose to believe in something. Believe in this, believe in that, or here's a concept that sounds good, or here's an ideology that sounds good. Now, all thoughts are in context to those beliefs, concepts, and ideologies. You cannot think without first having an attachment to something. Now, all of those things are not knowing. A belief, a concept, an ideology, that's not what is. In fact, they don't have anything to do with what is. So therefore, thinking is not knowing. Thinking is the stupor-like effect that happens to our consciousness when we come all the way down here. We don't know, so we try to figure it out through thinking. So the question, to come back, thinking and knowing, Sean, they're two sides to the same coin. They're part of, but they're the exact opposite. If you know something, you don't think about it. You know. And like I said, we've replaced knowingness with beliefs because our disconnection is so complete. And then through these beliefs, we think about trying to get to the knowingness, but you can never think yourself into knowingness. The knowingness will occur prior to thought if you're able to control your energy and be present. I hope you enjoyed the video. Now, if you are desirous of more of the real you and less of your conditioned, agitated mind, if you know that you can create a life that you're not leading right now, but you know you can, check out my meditation masterclass. It's pinned in the comments below.